Good morning. Today is September 13th, and I was guided to come on today versus on Sunday. And I just realized last night that this is also the 13th episode or 13th conversation of the White Rose transmission and Jasmine tea. So it's interesting. Today is now it escapes me. Pinopotro is a number 10. It's a new beginning day. Number 10 is a number 1. But also 13 holds the number 1 and the number 3. And Lemuria, 1 is of the creator force and 3 is of the Trinity. And that holds truth, trust, and passion. It all also adds up to the number 4. And in Lemuria, that is the balancer, where we can bring forth our experience within the physical, the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual realm. So I had this feeling earlier from the weekend and just from last week of how things were coming in with this new rose that one of my clients received, and just seeing how in many ways with many souls I'm seeing their connection within the earth plane and with the weaves and the elementals, how they're bringing in either light codes or wisdom, however they're receiving it, and not only grounding it, but they have specific connections to the weaves. So the weaves in Lemuria are different levels of consciousness, such as plant, animals, insects or crystals. Excuse me. And so I'm seeing this, like I have one sister who she's bringing in her connection from some of the highest realms with God's source and the light, and I bringing it through and helping it to anchor within the ocean waters. I bet someone else, I was actually a couple of people I've seen, they have a deep connection with the trees and with the forest, and how that is not only grounding, but helps them to dispense light codes and wisdom through that communication system. The network of the trees themselves within their root system can spread that. And with the crystals, many already have this connection with the crystals, and I am just rocks in general, and that connection as well. And I know for myself, many times I've been guided to go into the garden, into the rose garden, when the light was coming in, feeling my connection with all that was around me. Sorry, it's like there's some clearing happening today. Being with the light, the roses, the trees, my connection with the earth, my feet on the earth, but also there's a creek nearby, so the water element is there. So I just want to give validation and give voice to that for you, whatever that is, for you to really recognize it may not simply be a place of grounding, but a place of truly allowing that which you're bringing through to be anchored into the earth plane through the many weaves, and it can be spread. My sense is multifold. So one of the things that has come through various meditations, and I don't believe I've ever released this on my YouTube channel. It's been in a small group, or it's been through some energy sessions where I've been called to share some activations and some symbols that have come through to truly access from that place of seeding energies that we're called to bring forth. And what I've discovered is it takes a certain amount of, and I say this respectfully, but we've got to have done the inner journey within to be able to, I'm here and hold these codes, because there's a great trust. It's a great trust in, um, so that it's not misused. It's not taken, um, just for personal glory. It's really of service to God's source and Mother Earth and humanity. So in this place, and I've written a little bit about the experience, not necessarily what I was shown to connect to, but in bringing that which I was to seed, bringing it into having really done a place of purifying, clarifying, and bringing back sovereignty. It's a reconnection from the heart and the vision and the womb space, or creative space for this. And again, what they brought in was a symbol, which they called it as a mandala. Now, I saw that as something that was worn, um, and had the ability to then transcribe the energy through these energy centers, and then take it into Mother Earth, if Mother Earth was willing to accept. I was always asking, can I actually seed this? Can I anchor this? It's come from Heaven's Gate, and can I do this? And when she accepted it, then it could be emanated. And I felt like she was then, from her heart, she was emanating it through the weaves. She was emanating it through, the crystals and the plants and the water, and through the grids, as her guidance and her counsel would, um, have it be served in the highest and best. And then seeing that through my inner vision, how that unfolded. So it's the same thing that um, what I want. It's the same activation process that I'm seeing in other souls. These are specifically women, priestesses. I'm saying priestesses of long ago. Their ability to anchor into the weaves and to share the codes and higher wisdom that they have, or even they may have, they're saying longing. I think it's this longing in terms of something we've had and held, and now there's a longing to reawaken that. And some, I believe, have actually put them there for safekeeping, to come back to those places of their consciousness, to activate and retrieve those codes and wisdom codes as wisdom keepers for this time and space. So never underestimate your connection to the light, to the sun, to the element of fire, to the element of water, to the oceans, to the lakes, to the streams, as well as to the forest, the trees in your yard, and their ability to communicate as well as the wind, and other animals that may come to you as and their messages. So I'm feeling called to talk a little bit about the trees. So this first happened years ago. I was in my adjusting suite, and I have French doors I can see out of, and then there's a window I can see next to the main door, and there's some evergreen trees. It was windy. It was like we had this windstorm, and the trees were blowing just really dramatically. And my first impression was, oh, they look angry. But it was this immediate, like, conversation of, no, they're communicating. Their movement, their boughs moving, are actually communicating the energy of what's going on. And it's goes down into the entire root system. It was like, it's not just what you see, because that energy is being taken down into the trunk and into the root system and then being relayed through the planet. Some of you may think I'm crazy, but it was like, oh, okay, got it. That made sense. It made sense to me. And it made sense to just really honor the storm that was and the wind that was coming through. And it wasn't a place of fear. It was like, oh, and the rest of the elements are translating this and sharing this and communicating this within the earth herself. So really, I just want to call the forth praise and respect to the goddess realm, to the creator force, to Mother Earth, this place of creation that is made manifest on this earth plane, and how the weaves are supporting us. The crystals, the insects, the plants, the animals that crawl, that swim, that fly, and that our connection in that and our communication that goes beyond the words, communication and telepathic communication of sharing codes and wisdom. So this morning, I was just reflecting and feeling this place of like, what else am I going to what's going to come through? And do you want me to just simply be in a place of surrender and what comes in that moment? And I was seeing like the void of creation, the womb of creation. It was just black. And then it was almost as if one by one, these white roses were appearing. And almost like looking up high, it's like this rose, they were just kind of coming online. And I felt tapping into this energy of 13 again. And 13 holds multiple meanings as far as, if a woman has her 13 moons and menstrual cycles with the moon phase during a year, but also how it relates to Master Jesus and the disciples, him being one and then 12 disciples makes 13. It also would be equivalent to a soul or monad with 12 souls then having 12 soul extensions. And so this 13 is very symbolic and very powerful. So there was a sense of 13 white roses. And it reminded me of another conversation last week with a beautiful sister who I'll be seeing today. So I have a sense there may come more. There may be an A and a B transmission today. We'll see. And she was also, it's like this number 13. And I don't believe it's just today being 13 or the fact that it's the 13th White Rose transmission, but it's something to do with these 13 white roses. And as I felt more into this, well, first of all, they kept dropping in different frequencies, and I'm just going to share this briefly. It's like the first one that came in was truth. Like this first rose is carrying the frequency of truth. And my sense is there's multiple souls connected to this white rose of truth. And they're extensions of that frequency here on this planet. Next one that came in was purity. And again, I sense there's many souls that are carrying that. They're an extension of that white rose, that wisdom, and they're here to emanate it. And passion, Number 4 was play and pleasure. 5 was providence. It was the sense of being in divine direction, divine orchestration. 6 was to elevate, to raise the frequency. Ipetsi sonokepera, disipokoti netorsa, ishonokotorosa, ipetiro. And I sense those are transmitters who are constantly raising. It's like raising the bar, keeps raising the frequency for the collective and for other souls to now start to sing, if you will, sing into a higher octave. Knipu tsunoka. 7 was elation, joy, this place of bliss. 8 was harmony, ekonoporo separa. 9 was happiness. And I questioned, so what's the difference here between happiness and joy? And the sense that I got was happiness is like a smile. It brings you a moment of joy. It's like a little trickle of joy. Versus joy is like the full ocean. You know, one is like a glass of water, the other is like we're totally in the middle of the waves of it. And we need both. We need to have that full immersion, and yet we need small amounts for sustainability. And they're saying for our growth, we need moments of happiness and we need big moments of just pure joy and bliss, which is our ultimate state. Okonopara eshanai. And was ease, flow, really representing the place of the divine feminine's energy. Ikonoporo setara. She's not contained. There's no container. Ishonokorepe tiserakia. Just like water. Water moving. Kunuporo shonokore. 11 was dignity, respect, honor, ekonara, epetesaria. 12, poise. And I was a bit surprised, poise. And it really felt this place of being graceful, of having composure. It's where you stand. It's really that place of being in your own lane, having poise. Nothing's going to deter you. Ikinita sharohe. And 13, I was felt called to leave it blank, whether that's something that's going to pop in or if it's something really for you in this moment right now, to just hold that space and see if the white rose wishes to drop into your consciousness, into your field, and bring you a gift of a frequency today. Saying for you to embody, and they're wanting you to bring it in. They're saying the elements and to bring into the elemental field. And I'm feeling like you can allow it to even ride on codes, the codes of light, or the codes of sound. See, sense, or feel. And if you feel like you wish to ground that today into the earth plane, whether you're taking it into the garden, into the water, into the roots of the plants or the trees, taking it into the wind, allowing the leaves to then to blow, to the limbs to blow, and let it reverberate that way through the field and then to ground. If you, it's like they're having you whisper to maybe a squirrel, to one of the woodland creatures, or even to the dolphins, to just share those messages and codes however they're coming in, so they may spread it as far and wide as well. It's like I'm seeing this little squirrel taking it and putting it into the earth, just as he or she is burying her nuts and food for winter. It's like she's bearing these codes as well for seeding. And we're just blessing all these carriers, the carrier of consciousness upon this earth plane, to bring through not only what they told me earlier this morning, but also whatever you are specifically embodying and anchoring. And we just ask for a blessing that this come under the law of grace for the highest orchestration, the highest and best for all that who are connected and will receive Ishinokotoro for whoever it will resonate and align with. Kunoporoe and Nokorosiotara Kipea. And they're just really showing me this squirrel right now, which is interesting because a couple of days ago there was this I couldn't get away from this squirrel in my condo. Walking on the property, we seem to be running into each other. So I felt there was a strong message. So I feel like this is a message not only for the squirrel, as far as preparation, as we might be preparing for the months ahead, planting things so that we can come back to those wisdom codes, but also all of um, the realm of spirit, how it shows up, whether it's in the animals and the crystals. You see things that repeat themselves, patterns, whatever messages may be coming through for you, just pay attention. I believe they're starting to come in louder and more in a divine interplay, and divine weaving. They're saying fabrication. Like in creating the fabric, you have different threads. It's like you're going to start seeing more and more of things being woven together. And as we come from that place of truth and that place of purity and weaving all those different energies that we've already spoken of, as we start to hold that in embodiment, our walk upon the earth plane can take on a deeper richness and a richer magnitude of emanation. So wherever you are, I invite you to simply imagine yourself connected to the earth, all the different weaves, and it's like they want you to just get off the cement and put your feet on the ground or in the sand and feel the light of the sun and allowing the codes to come in. Especially this rose ray that's been coming in, that is one that is for your activation, allowing that to be received into your heart and allow it to come through and anchor, asking permission. And I'm seeing it riding on gold, the gold and the rose together. It's starting to weave in some white from the heart itself, anchoring from the purity of our heart within, connecting to the clarity of our vision, and coming into the sovereignty of our womb space. May we plant this with Mother Earth, and we pause. Shanada. And it's like she opens her arms. She opens her heart. Let her receive from you deeply, planting that which you are the carrier for, so that it can be spread through the many weaves, the different weaves of creation. Takes them far and wide, connecting to the crystals, to the plants, to the trees, the waters, the insects, all the animals, great and small, and into the grid. So that you see the most beautiful gold and rose surrounding the earth herself. She's just lit up. May we walk together in this place of grace and harmony and peace to hold these solar rose codes of the Christ consciousness, the divine feminine, so that the Christos Sophia can be seated and can emanate far and wide. Blessed be, blessed be, blessed be. And may you take only that which will serve you in your highest and best.